So here what we're trying to do is we're trying to create two squares on two different corners of the screen. So using variable names. But so here, what we've decided to what you have to do is basically set since the whole screen is 400 centimeters long, 400 pixels wide. Sorry. Wait, and you want to have them on the same x value. So your x value will, sorry, your on the same y value. So your y value will stay the same. And since it's 500 wide, so from here to here is 100. And then from here, and then when you add 400, it goes all the way to right over here. And then when you create another rectangle, it will appear on this corner. So that's how that's done. And then in terms of how to create this one over here, it's a very similar concept, but in this one, we're also manipulating the y values as well using the plus minus operator and the plus equals operator. Sorry, plus equals operator and the minus equals operator to change the values of x and y, but we keep the size and the height and width of our each of squares same. I'm just gonna quickly run through the math concept of the sorry. Um yeah. Sorry, my computer is okay. So just kind of the math portion of why we change how we change the x and y values. So each time to get to the next block, what we kind of have to do is we go up, we like zero, like we start over here, like as x and y, and then
You're
if
not
we,
sharing your screen. We can't see anything.
oh, sorry guys, thank you guys for letting me know. Why, oh my God. Okay, everyone can see my screen now. Can
Yes.
let me just check chat. Okay. Perfect. Yes, I was supposed to be sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm just going to cover the math section here real quick. So this is the when you start at x and y, you kind of start over here, and then when you add the width value, the width value to x, it'll go over here, and you add the height value to the y value of the square, it'll go over here. So each time, for the solution to the second one, we kind of just keep repeating that over and over again. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how that's done. Um, Perfect. Sorry. Sorry. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, I'm just trying to get to this tab. Oh, not this one. This one. Okay. So variable scope. So variables are created inside of a function in the def setup or the def draw. They don't exist outside of it. So what that means is, let's say you set the value of x to 2 inside of setup. You can't really call the same variable inside of def draw and say, hey, now you can't call x and be like, okay, create a square that's of size x, because it won't know what x is outside of that function. So variables outside of all functions are global variables. So using them inside of a function requires the global keyword. Limited scope. If we create a variable x inside of setup, it will only exist inside of setup. So if we try to print x over here, we'll run into an error. The global keyword. To fix our example from the previous slide, what we can do is use the global keyword. So what that lets us do is it creates a global variable x for all the functions. So here, x is equal to 0, and we set global x because it's a global variable that we can call inside of here, and then you would be able to use it inside of all the different functions. And let's say you make changes to the global variable inside of your function, it would also impact the variable outside of the function. So here, we've created x outside of setup and draw over here, and then we use the global keyword to tell setup and draw which x they should use. So kind of an example of the global variable. So here, what we've done is we've created x as a global variable. Just very similar to the last example, we've set up our window size. Global x gives us access to x inside of the draw function, and now we can use that x function like a regular variable inside of the draw function. And this would actually also change the value of x. So now each time we run this, it'd actually be 11 over here. So this is a top hat question. I think there's a lot of chats over here. I don't understand exactly why you'd use global. Okay, so why would you use the global variable? So um, the advantage of using the global variable. So let's say you have two different functions and they're both dependent on the same variable. So for example, let's say in def setup, you wanted to print x, but also in draw, you wanted to use the same variable of x. So what the global variable would let you do is you could use and change maybe in some programs, what happens is the value of x will be changed inside of one function and then it will be called in a completely different function later on. So when you use the global variable, it lets you kind of communicate between different functions using variables. Does that kind of make sense? I think once you kind of utilize it, it'll make a lot more sense if it doesn't currently. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is a top hat question right here. Does the following code work as expected and make the circle move to the right? Why or why not? If Mech, if you don't mind starting the top hats,
Yes,
um,
the top hat question is now open. You should be able to see it.
awesome guys. Uh, so take a look at the question and then see what the answer is. Perfect. Okay, so I'm not sure what everyone's answers was because currently I don't have access to the top hat, but we'll just kind of go over through the answer. So in this case, sorry, is my mic on? Uh, yes, my mic is on. Okay, does the following code work as expected? Okay, so the draw repeats forever. The background, this is just setting the background color. Here we've created X, and then we increment X, and then we use X inside of the incremented value. In this case, yes, this code would actually run okay because the X was defined inside of the draw function. And um, the
The answer is actually no. And can anyone tell us why? Why would the answer be no? The correct answer is already on Top Hat, so if you're on there, you should be able to see the definition. But for a clearer answer, uh, same as background, we're redefining x to 10 every single time. So every single time we go x is 10, then we add 1 to it, it becomes 11, and then we draw the circle at 11. And then we keep repeating that over and over again. So it just stays at 11 and doesn't move. So that's why the code isn't working as expected.
Okay, yeah. Then yeah, because it keeps rerunning the draw function. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so that is the answer. So using variables, sorry, I can't. Um, Using variables to change other variables. For example, in two variables, we can store the player X's position and the player's speed. We can then use the speed variables to change the player's position. So this is an example of the speed variable. So using a variable for speed, let us easily modify our program just by changing the value. So here, speed is 3, and each time we run this, it changes the x value by 3. So here what happens is this moves a bit slower, and since we're changing the x value by 5 now, and it keeps running for the same number of times, the circle will move a little bit faster. Oh, sorry, a little bit faster, yes. Okay. So adding gravity. In real life, the longer a ball falls, the faster it falls. We can replicate this over time by increasing the speed over time. So we start speed at 1, move on to 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here what happens is we change the speed, we add a different variable for speed rather than having speed be a constant value of 3, like in the last example. What will happen is this value of speed will also be changing with each iteration. So this is an exercise that you guys will be doing in the breakout rooms, where basically the ball will be changing colors as it moves down the from one corner of the screen to the other. So that is kind of how that's done. You guys will talk about how that's done inside of your breakout rooms, um, and then we'll discuss the solution for anyone really quickly after you guys come back from the breakout rooms. Okay. We have Davida inside of the chats. Were you able to, do you know your breakout room, or were you able to figure it out, or?
Can you hear us? I don't believe they're active, so. Oh, wait, you can hear us. Okay. Do you know what your room number is? You should have gotten an email this morning, and it's the same as the one you joined last time. You're in group 3. Yeah, so please join that breakout room. We have Taranjeet back in the main room. Is there a problem? Hello? For the slide that says text and lines, it's like right after the exercise. In the speaker notes, you'll find a link. I'll send it to you directly right now. Uh, when you just talk about it, just let them know that this link can like give them more information about texts and lines. Like this is the link that they can check out.
Okay,
And yeah, okay. Yeah, just send it in the main section to everyone.
perfect.
I feel like we could give like we have time as well. Yeah, we can give like I don't know, 10 more minutes for this exercise. What do you think?
10 more minutes? That seems like a long time, right? For this one?
Really?
Actually, I guess
Okay,
yeah, I guess maybe 5 more minutes actually, I think would be good.
5 more minutes? Okay, perfect. I'll start a timer.
Okay.
Also for Top Hat, I'm gonna hand you the login and password.
Okay.
We have
Perfect.
two end of session questions left, I believe. So if you could just present those before, um,
All
yeah,
right. That's good. Uh,
I'm gonna go into random breakout rooms and see if there's any problems or anything.
okay, sounds good.
Hello, I'm just checking in. How's the exercise going?
I can sort of, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can sort of get it to run. I just sort of figured out some parts of it,
Mhm.
but um, could you sort of take a look at it and make sure I'm doing things right?
Sure, you should be able to share your screen.
Well,
And Ali's your mentor, right? So if you'd like to take over, Ali.
Yes, yes, I can check if you have any questions.
okay. Let me. Okay, so it's doing that right now. Is that about right?
Um, the positioning is right. I think we just need to add the colors.
Then we have red because it was fully red and then it changed to blue. So we have red to be 255. So like 255.
Hello.
Just checking in. How's the exercise going? Any problems? Any issues?
I think we're good. I just finished going through the code with them.
Okay, perfect. So we will be closing the breakout rooms soon.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey, are you there?
Yeah. I'm gonna send out a message that we're closing the rooms.
Perfect. I was wondering for the top hats, so how do I kind of present? This is my first time uh using it
Uh,
as kind of like a
okay, so
screen.
sorry, give me a sec. I'm gonna share my screen and show it to you. So if you go
Okay, I'm
to
gonna stop. Okay, there we go.
yeah, so if you go to the Saturday session over here, you should be able to see the questions. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I never stopped assigning this question, I believe. So what you can do is go to the question. Once you're on there, you should see an assign option, and once you click this, it should be assigned openly, so that's all good. Once it's assigned around here on top of like the question, there's an option to show correct answer. So you can use that to find out the correct answer and show it to everyone. They would be able to see this on their screens as well. This one obviously has no correct answer because it's like just a review question on how they found the content to be, and then the last question is just the pacing. Yeah, that's it. And then using the unassigned that I used earlier, you can like stop sharing the question.
Okay, so can I just assign it right now?
You could, but I would say do that as like a collective. So like when everyone's back at the end of the session, show them your screen and be like, this is the question, and then see the responses in time, and then yeah, maybe make a comment or two about it. If there's like a lot of answers that are like, oh, session was really hard, I didn't understand the content, then you can be like, yeah, this is something we can improve on. Please talk to your mentors and just like, the normal spiel that we give to everyone. For the pacing as well, if they say the pacing was too fast, then you know for next time that you need to like slow down a little, maybe put in some more examples from personal experience or anything. If they say the pacing was good, then you're great. But yeah, that's something more between you and the mentees as compared to like mentors or me or anything. So yeah, I'll let you take handle on that.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so is the breakout rooms closing 60 seconds or
Yeah, I just closed them, so they should be back in 60 seconds.
perfect? Okay. Okay, so it looks like that everyone's back. Can everyone see my screen currently? I'm just gonna quickly check the chat. Perfect. Okay. Um, I'm sure you guys covered the solution inside of your uh, breakout rooms. But as you guys know, the solution kind of looks like this. I'm just gonna run through it super quickly. So obviously it starts when we click run, it starts at position 0, which is all the way up in the top left-hand corner. And then as the program keeps going, uh, the uh, the circle starts to move all the way to the bottom right corner. And as you guys kind of understood the advantage of using global variables, so you guys can kind of determine a value before outside of the draw function and then utilize that over time and then inside of the draw function, which I think is very good. So yeah, that's so just kind of everyone understand the advantages of the global function and how it kind of helps with this tasks like this. Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's move on back to these slides. Sorry. Sorry, it seems like some people have questions. Nope. Casmi actually said nope. Okay, let's go back, take a step back. Um, to the back to the trinket. So the advantage of using the global variable inside of this program is basically here when we determine, like let's say we determined x as 0 and y as 0 inside of the draw function. What would happen is every time the draw function is ran, it would be reset back to x0 and y0. So really, your code wouldn't really be moving. It would just go back front to and then go back, reset back to 0. So putting the variable outside of the draw function, it allows you to keep storing the value. So here, when we put x position to 2 plus equals 2, which is also equal, like it might help if we split it up a bit. So that's kind of what it represents. So we take the old x position, we add 2 to it, and we put it into the back into the x position variable, which is actually stored up here, right? So each time we run this code, it's not reset back to 0. Like if we put the x position variable inside of here, it would continuously be reset back to 0. So it would only literally just move up to and then back to and move up to and then back to. So it lets you increment the code and kind of utilize like kind of memory, I guess. Yeah, so that's kind of the advantage. I hope that kind of helped clear some things up for you. Okay, thanks. All right, so now we're going to talk about some of the more features of the program. So some features of you can write some features of sorry. Some more features is you guys can actually write text inside of your window. So text size is kind of the size of the text, obviously. Text align actually has two different parameters. The first parameter kind of determines the alignment. So in Word, let's say you have a big block of code. If you put it in center, it will kind of be in the middle. If you put it to the left, it'll be on the left-hand side. If you put it on the right, it'll be like push to the right-hand side. So that's kind of what text align does. So for the first parameter, there's three different variables that you could use. You could use left, you could use center, and you could use right. And then for the second parameter, there's a couple different variables you can use as well. So what the second parameter does is, let's assume that there's a line right going through the bottom, it kind of determines how the text is set up on your line. So there's a couple different variables you could also use for the second parameter, top, center, bottom and baseline. What we recommend using is actually baseline, because what that does is imagine that there's a line going through your text. It kind of puts the text right above the line. So if you guys can see my mouse, let's assume that there's a line going through here. It would literally just put the text at the right above the line. So here what we have is a text with a font size of 20. Sorry, a text with a font size of 20, and it's at the X25 and Y50. So yeah, and then you can also, for the draw
I have a
lines,
question of the text. So
yes.
if the print function also prints text and the text function also prints text, what's the difference between them?
Okay, so the difference between the two of those is that the text will print the text to your console. Sorry, the text will print the text to your window, the window that you see, and the print will print to your console. So the print is more used as a tool for developers, unless you're making console-based programs. Um, for your user interface, if you want to be kind of shown on the Windows side of things, you'd use text, and if you want to be kind of just as like a debugging tool or just console applications, you could use the print method. Yes. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep, I think it makes sense. What
Perfect.
did the mentees think? Let us know in the chat.
Chat. Okay. And then you guys can also draw lines using the stroke method. Yeah, and then you guys can also the stroke, what that does is it determines the color of all the, this goes into the draw function most of the time. Yeah, this could also, I think it can go in both, since you're not constantly updating the variables. But yeah, it kind of depends. Like for example, let's say you'd like to make your text bigger or smaller, then maybe it could go inside of the draw function. But yeah, most of the time it would go inside of the draw function. Okay. So then there's like a stroke method. What that does is it determines uh the color of the color of the line that you kind of draw. And then line over here, it helps with determining where for the line method, the first two values determines where the line starts, and the last two methods determine where the line ends. So here we use the line method. The line starts at 100, 200, x and y values of 100, 200, and ends at x and y values of 300, 400. So another thing, I'm gonna share a small link if anyone's interested. What you can do is if you guys are more interested in learning some different features of Python, then you guys could go to that link, and there's a wide range of other tools that you guys could utilize. And there's more details on these different methods there as well. And reading documentation, I think, is really important for programming. So you guys could maybe try that and yeah, get kind of used to it. So combining drawing text with variables. Okay, so as I mentioned before, you guys, if you guys were to utilize like kind of like changing the values of your text, then you'd obviously have to put it inside of the draw method. Sorry, draw function. So here, what we kind of did here is we changed the text size. We constantly keep changing the font size. So then, and also the X and Y values. So the hello gets bigger and slowly moves to the right over time. So what if you wanted to make a shape fade from one color to another? So what you kind of would do is you'd use fill and you set the color to any specific value, and then if you want, like, let's say in this case, we're trying to take it from like uh, uh, a gray to a green, right? So we'd slowly increase the values of green over time. So submit the link to your code to the relevant submission forms. So if you guys have some different kinds of homework for after this session, you guys can submit it to these two Google Forms right here. And these are the two different exercises. So yeah, you guys can try these out and see how it goes. I'll give some quick small hints. So obviously in this one, you are changing the X and Y values, but also you guys are changing the color of these circles. So you guys definitely want to be utilizing global variables. So kind of put X as equal to a specific value at the top of your code, and then slowly X as specific values at the top of your code and change them using the global keyword inside of your methods. And same goes with number 2 as well. And then, yeah, these are some pretty cool projects right here. This one utilizes the mouse X and Y variables. So you guys, for number 4. And these exercises are just for fun. So you guys can try different things and find something fun like that. Awesome. And this is a pretty cool thing right here, like this slingshot. That's pretty awesome. And it kind of utilizes a little bit of physics knowledge as well. All right. Okay, so it looks like that's the end, but I actually do have a couple quick questions for you guys. So this is kind of our end of session questions. If you guys do have Top Hat open, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask a couple of quick questions on how the this kind of course is going for you guys. So the first question I'm gonna start right now. So how difficult did you guys kind of find the content from today? So like, so we had one answer. Um, by the way, this doesn't have any correct answer, so it's pretty basic. We just have 2 minutes to 2 minutes to choose. If anyone needs any more time, if anyone needs any more time to answer the question, please let me know and I'll add 15 seconds or however much time you need. Awesome. Okay. All right, let's see how the course is going. The content was just right. The content was very difficult. So if the content was very difficult, I guess that's kind of normal. That's kind of the learning process. And I'm sure you guys will get used to it over time. But yeah, I'll definitely try to do a better job at explaining things slowly and more clearly over time. Let's move on to the next question real quick. There's one more question. Present. So if you guys don't mind answering one last question. So how was the kind of pacing of this session right here? Sorry. Oh, submissions got closed when I click on responses. My bad. Okay, now it's open again and you guys can answer.
So for anyone who doesn't know, pacing generally means if you found the session to be too fast, if it was very slow and you got bored in the middle, or if it was just like the normal pace, something that you could digest as you went along.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was on me. I accidentally clicked on responses. So to see what people are saying, but turns out that would close the the page. So awesome, we had 31. That's a lot of people answering. That's pretty good. Okay. Perfect. I feel like everyone that was gonna answer kind of answered the question, so we'll probably close it up right now. Um, so let's see what the review is. Okay, so we're getting a bit of good information. It was a bit fast for a lot of people. Okay. So we'll definitely next class, some of the things I'll try to do is go through a lot more examples and kind of repeat myself a little bit more. That might help a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining in this session. Uh, Mick, is that it for today?
Yes, I